Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel. My name is Brian, if you happen to be new here, and we're going to be diving into the latest announcements and dev update. I'm going to edit this video a little bit differently, and I'd love to have your feedback, especially if you're a returning subscriber. But if you're brand new, my name is Brian, and this is a New World video. We're going to be talking about the Season of the Guardian announcement, and like I said, there is a little dev video that they like to walk through, so we'll do a live reaction. This is recorded. Be sure to hit that like button if you like pre-recorded content. Otherwise, if you like live content, go check out Ginger Prime. It's the main channel, and this channel is just 100% focused on New World. So I'm gonna go through this post and I'm gonna read it and give my thoughts about it, and then I haven't seen any of this yet, so that's gonna be fun. I'm probably gonna mispronounce some words. I apologize. And then what we'll do is we'll wrap it up with watching and reacting and discussing basically their take on it. I love the dev updates and I love what's coming next for New World, and I can't wait to see more. But the Season of the Guardian looks pretty cool, so let's go ahead and dive on into it. Greetings, adventurers. Survive the Rune Forge. Master cooking trade skill changes. Experience the updated Shattered Mountain main story quest and play with controller when Season of the Guardian releases on March the 12th. There is also going to be new combat optimizations for smoother combat and PvP modes like Wars, and check out the next PTR for an early preview of the latest features. Yes, this is what oh man, guys. Yes, let's go. All right, and then we'll come back to the development team update. Let's look at the major updates. The new seasonal trial, the Rune Forge. Join up to 10 max level players in a bone-chilling gauntlet of increasing difficulty enemies. The seasonal trial requires teamwork to overcome rune puzzles, slay icy constructs, and fell the ancient ice guardian for unique rewards. New artifacts. Grab 8 new artifacts that excel through unique playstyles. Here's some of the key traits. For Sin, it's a hatchet. Corruption debuffs last 25% longer, works on both weapons. Wow, that's cool. Defile deals 2% more damage per debuff on the target, 5 stacks. Cool. Venom is a spear. Poisoned tip, its heavy attacks with either weapon cause poison, dealing 20% weapon damage for 5 seconds. Tempest Fury, the great axe. Momentum, that's interesting to think about pairing that, because again, a debuff for 5 seconds, then you can end up having an additional stack for damage. Tempest Fury, Great Axe. Momentum, successful attacks gain 3% movement speed. I love that. For 3 seconds. Works on both weapons and stacks up to 10 times. I love the works on both weapons, guys. I love that. Anyway, you could, I'm weirdly excited. I'm a nerd. It is what it is. All right, Nature's Wrath, medium chest wear. Nature's Blessing empowers, and empower expires 200% faster, but you deal 20% more damage. It expires twice as fast, but you deal 20% damage. If you can justify the, I guess it's like if you're thinking about a burst window. I'm very curious, because I don't feel like that might necessarily be the thing. I guess unless you're just absolutely focusing on burst damage. 200, that twice as fast, but you only get 20%. It just feels like you're losing damage in that case. I don't know. All right, Jilly's Gravity Gauntlets, Heavy Glove. Whatever you take damage, gain a charge that increases the damage of your next attack by 3% for a max of 10 charges, which I guess that would be 30%, which is great. Ironheart Heavy Legwear, when not in a heavy loadout, gain 20% more max health. Oh, interesting. Especially if you want to do kind of a medium tank. Like that could be, you know, like, oh, yeah, I'd like to, you want to shift some stuff off of Constitution, replace it with that, and then put your points in otherwhere. That's, yeah, I love how artifacts really do change up how all this works. All right, Creed boots, light footwear, ambush, deal 15% more damage and 25% more critical chance as long as you haven't hit a target within 20 seconds. And then Phoenix, the amulet. Phoenix Revival, when you receive lethal damage, avoid death and become invulnerable for 2 seconds on a 180-second cooldown. Whoa. I gotta get me some of that. Oh, I don't know about you guys. All right, new seasonal pass. This should be straightforward. The Season of the Guardian introduces a new seasonal journey activity card, new challenges and rewards, including cosmetics and consumables. Cooking and other trade skill changes. Looking forward to the ingredient updates, revamp cooking progression, legendary fish recipe tweaks, and removal of split attribute food, and more that will have additional details to share in a future deep dive article. Upgraded combat and animation system. Now, we've updated the old combat animation system to improve performance in high traffic areas and make players like Wars and OPR. The new system will also make it easier to improve on our combat going forward, and we've done our best to keep the feel of the game the same or better, but would definitely like to hear. That's going to be something that's going to be interesting to test out for sure. Controller support, guys. This is where we're at. Controller support is coming to New World. Select the 2 pre-controller layouts to make your New World experience even more immersive. As part of optimizing the game to play well on controller, we've introduced the following new features and settings. Aim Assist helps with aiming ranged attacks, controller only, AI only, so I guess not against other players. Target Friction, slower reticle speed and rollover of a valid target, controller only. Enemy Target Lock allows you to lock the camera onto an enemy, AI only. Move that to the right stick to swap between multiple targets. Oh my gosh. Works on both controller and mouse and keyboard with middle mouse button and the swap wheel up and down. Oh, great that it's working on. That's just, oh dude, I love that, especially as an optional feature. FreeFor movement allows running in all directions, including towards the camera. Yes, that's what I like. I call the other one legacy movement, but that is what it is. Thank you, Pat, for hitting that subscribe button. Welcome to the channel. We're glad to have you here. As I like to say, the Soul Nation, because I'm a ginger and we lack souls. All right. Anyway, yeah, I like the FreeFor movement. Defaults to on with controller, off with keyboard and mouse. That's great that I can toggle that on and off. That is I think a must-have from Final Fantasy XIV. Truly, truly cool. Use camera direction for melee attacks. If this is off, it will allow melee attacks and blocking in the direction of your input character facing instead of your camera facing. Defaults to off with controller, on with keyboard and mouse. Improved feature accessibility. Radical wheel for quick access to features like player emotes, yes. Issuing commands and setting up camp, perfect. Shift modifiers allow for quick access to all combat abilities. Improved UX navigation with the gamepad for faster actions. They've also, main story quest fully has been updated. The entire New World main story quest is now fully updated based off player feedback and improvements made to the revamped starting experience. Experience fresh narratives, more quest variety, and a few new surprises to put an end to Isabella's campaign of corruption. Mounts in Outpost Rush, okay. Ride your favorite mounts into battle, gain control of fortifications and resources, and strike down foes in this 20v20 game match for 60 plus players. Rabbit's Revenge is coming back, guys. The Plague of Rabbits returns once again, only now they are more perilous than ever. Watch out for explosions as you hunt for specific loot. Springtide Bloom, that's pretty much a check on check. The time of awakening has arrived. Springtide Bloom calls its children to share an ancient secret capable of granting true freedom. Help the Enigma Bloom Herald unravel the mysteries in yada 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 yada. Public test realm limited server availability, grants early access. Do they have a date? PTR will officially open on the 14th. My goodness, that's going to be the busiest day of my, like, it's a sprint delivery day. So I wouldn't anticipate me being live on the 14th, guys. But maybe that night. Maybe we'll hang out that night. Well, we'll have to see. Cool. That's going to be really cool. I cannot wait to check out the controller support for this game. So let's go ahead and jump into the video now.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Season 5 Dev Update. I'm here with the whole crew. I have Scott, who always waves out of turn, so we'll do him first. We have Dave V, Tony, Dan, Chad, and Zach, and we have a lot to share. We were supposed to have a few more people, but thanks to the apocalyptic California rainstorm, to give you a hint on when we're filming this, they will not be able to make it. Also, our printers don't work, so some people may be looking at their phones. But before we get in with all of the goodies, I did want to share some news. I know we had promised a roadmap in May, and unfortunately, we are not going to be able to share that until June. We take our commitments serious, but we've got some new information on our side that's just going to mean we can't share it.
Arg, like, to kind of jump in on this one, I really want them to be able to hit these dates every time they give us like May. Yeah, and that's a broad range. Now it's shifting to June. Like the player in me, the human in me, the guy who does this kind of work for a living, like I get it. But I tell you, like, it's like, I really want the New World team to be able to like really hit those dates consistently, because I think that's important. I think that it helps establish trust.
We are still super excited about it, and hopefully you can all be patient and understand it's just going to be a couple weeks behind where we had planned on sharing it. Outside of that, we have some really good news. By the time you see this video, the Advanced Group Finder should have launched, which we're all really excited about.
It's excellent.
I haven't played it in live yet. It actually launches tomorrow morning, but as someone who plays on a lower pop server, Isabella, I think it's going to be a game changer.
It's a game changer.
All right, well, let's start talking about all the great stuff coming in Season 5. We're going to start with Zach, who's going to take us through the Winter Runeforge trial.
Yeah, so basing off where we have with the hatchery, it's going to be a 10-person trial with some fodder and some boss encounters. We've got a nice ancient subterranean architecture with the icy coat on it, and you're going to be running through there doing some cool stuff, puzzles, and you'll have some cool rewards, dark matter, new artifact, twice a week for bonus rewards. You can play it as many times as you want a week, though.
Well, you mentioned bosses. Be cool if you could talk a little more about those.
I'll take that, sure. In this 10-person raid, players will be revisiting the Ophidian Construct as well as the Ice Guardian.
Yeah.
So players have probably already played these in their solo trial incarnation. But they were actually designed and developed as 10-person raid bosses. So players will now be seeing them in their full glory, their full power.
I really actually do like when devs are able to repurpose like the work that they've done, and when you have that mindset of setting it for the future and then being able to have varying different variations. I know people do get kind of burned out of that because like, oh, it's the same as this other thing. But in terms of content is king. And I think players just really, for the vast majority, want to play something. And if they're able to like put work in and maximize that effort and extrapolate that out into other systems and styles of content, like that, I think is absolutely praiseworthy.
Difficulty-wise, we want to be a little bit more pug-friendly, so it won't be quite as hard as like a sandworm, but definitely still on the challenging side. The Ophidian Construct. Definitely a challenge of positioning, making sure to pull apart those constructs as they're splitting and fracturing. And then the Ice Guardian, more challenges with the rune puzzle, as well as positioning with the torches. Going to be really, really important on that fight. Should put.
If anybody watched me live stream this fight, I kept dying and I don't know why. And them just kind of talking about it and watching this kind of play out the way it is, I'm like, I think I was missing a mechanic and was getting killed by a mechanic that I wasn't aware of. So, well, I'll have to get that stream on and get that done.
It's a pretty good challenge in front of the players.
Pretty cool. It's fun stuff. And I heard someone mention artifacts. Tony, you want to tell us a little bit about the new artifacts coming this season?
Yeah, so for Season 5, we've got a handful of new artifacts coming out. We've got some weapons, armor, and trinkets. I won't go into the details of all the different perks and whatnot, just leave that for discovery. But personally for me, a couple I'm excited about. We've got the Gravity Gauntlets, which is going to give you a stacking buff on your heavy attack. So every light attack, you get 3% additional damage, up to 10 stacks for your next heavy. So if you can like pair that with some crits, you can do some really good damage. And then the other one is the Phoenix, which is a trinket. And that one is every 180 seconds. If you hit 0 health and you're supposed to die, you'll gain 2 seconds of invulnerability. So anybody who may have played a while ago and used to enjoy that from Berserk on the Hatchet, it's there in an artifact form. So I'm really excited about those two.
And I like there's a pair of boots coming out that sort of encourage like the ambush kind of gameplay combat mechanic, where
daggers?
you get a bonus damage for a short period of time after you go into combat, right? Mm-hmm. So, like your openers become way more impactful.
Initiative roll, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And one thing I wanted to add is, we're starting to add a lot of artifacts, and I know we've had a couple players complain or sort of mention, hey, it's sort of
one or two.
It's sort of limiting to only be able to sort of track and upgrade 5 at a time. Well, we have some good news. In Season 5, we are increasing that to 10, so that will help players a lot.
That's awesome.
Oh,
One last thing on the subject of artifacts. The improved group finder that's coming out. This is kind of a late update, but the Lost Stopwatch, which gives a taunt ability, will work in the role select for signing up as a tank.
that was one of the biggest kind of downsides of the group finder, because you don't have to have a Carnelian with the stopwatch. So if you don't know what that means, this artifact basically gave you the effects of Carnelian, which would allow you to slot in another gem, thus increasing your damage or having some other effect applied to it. And this is great. That's the benefit of that. And it didn't apply, but the fact that that is an update that is coming with it is, I think, really great news.
That's late breaking update, but we were able to get that in.
That's awesome. Thanks for the critical news update.
Yeah, everybody can relax. It's okay now.
We're good. No, it is actually nice. So one of the things we've been asked for a lot over the last year, I'm pretty excited. Well, I'm pretty excited to let Dave talk about is the thing that used to be sitting up there in one of our videos.
Controller.
Yeah, I think you're talking about controller.
I am talking about controller.
So season 5 finally brings the long-awaited first step of controller support in New World.
Yes, okay,
so as I mentioned,
exactly
this is
what's
step
needed.
1. We are mostly focused on core gameplay in this one. So
Okay.
really just making sure all the sort of running around, navigating, combat, all that feels really good. We've added a couple cool things with that focus on core
That's gonna be so
combat
nice.
navigation.
Oh,
And-
yeah.
And number 1 is
Radial
some
wheels,
aim
perfect.
assist, which will be active during PvE, a target lock that you can use, and also some refinements to the way navigation works on the controller. So that has been really
great.
our focus for this release. We also have implemented, a virtual cursor that allow you to navigate around the various menus. You'll see a couple of the menus we've added sort of hints and shortcuts to already. More of those will be coming along over the subsequent seasons. We'll be trying to update all the screens so that there's sort of quick ways to do some of the actions.
Nice.
The last thing I think some people may miss in season 5 is there is no remapping. There's a couple default options you can choose from, but no remapping in season 5.
Okay.
Obviously, we are aware of that. We are going to bring it to you later. It just wasn't ready for season 5.
Good to know.
I encourage people to play with the controller.
And just on that note, I think that I like this honesty, and I'm glad we're going to go and play hands-on with it. This will also inspire feedback, and that remapping will be coming. I think that will be very helpful.
It's game-changing. I mean, it feels so different, and it feels really good, especially if you're more of a controller type of player.
Yes.
I'm excited for it. All right, well, another thing we've been promising for a long time is the finalization of the 1 through 60 MSQ update. So MSQ 2.3, which finishes the story. You want to give some high levels on that?
Yeah, just high level, because there's going to be a full Forge in Eternum that details all of this. So I don't want to spoil it. But like Scott said, this is sort of the culmination of the MSQ 2.3 pass all the way through. And this one, we focused on Ebonscale Reach and Shattered Mountain, sort of bringing the rest of the story in. It brings with it 2 new soul trials, which are going to be super fun. It brings in a host of new IGCs, a couple of the new sort of painterly cinematics. So it's great. And I think most importantly of all, for the solo players out there, you will now be able to do the whole story of the Isabella arc all the way without having to do an expedition. You can do it all solo. So pretty exciting stuff.
I think the Isabella fight is a blast. I think Chad and his team have done a great job making that. It's really come together. It's a cool final stamp on that story. From hardcore story to cooking, but we have made some changes to cooking. So why don't you take us through those, Tony?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have a lot of changes to cooking coming up here in the future. I'm not going to go into too many details because we're going to have a Forge in Eternum coming out shortly after this video, as well as some more fun cooking shenanigans in the future after that. But the high level of it is we wanted to take a look at the trade skill. Now that we have a better understanding of what players are chasing, what players are making, what players are cooking, there was a lot of stuff in the cooking trade skill, and we really wanted to pare that back and really focus on what players were using. So we cut back significantly on the recipes. We did tuning on experience curves as well, making it easier and more fluid to level, and just a whole lot of changes. It really slims down the crafting menus, which helps with performance. Just all in all, I think the changes make it feel a lot more focused, I guess, if you will. And so really looking forward to some of the changes we have for cooking.
I like cooking.
And other things as we simplify those as well.
Yeah, I think the exciting thing is to see the response to this, and then if we like it, start looking at other trade skills and repeating the pattern.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good point. You know, the feedback that we get from this is going to influence and then, you know, motivate how we approach other trade skills as we do these in the future.
And so what can players expect in terms of like the things that they've already cooked or like their existing items, like how?
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, so let's say, so I'll talk to split stat foods, right? And so maybe you have focus strength food for whatever reason. And when this patch comes out, what we're gonna be doing is whatever the main stat is for the split stat foods, you're gonna be getting the same tier as that as a primary stat. So if you had focus strength at tier 4, you're just gonna have a tier 4 focus food. And that'll go all the way through. And it does it for crafting foods, gathering foods, because again, a lot of the simplifications, there's just one tier for crafting and gathering now as well. We lowered the level requirement to use those. And again, it just should feel like a much more polished experience.
That's awesome. We have a change coming to OPR, Dan, that you want to talk about?
Mounts, baby.
Yeah, some of us glimpsed this in a PTR, a few PTRs back, but we're very excited that we've done some. We've got this ready to go out, and mounts are now allowed in OPR starting in season 5.
Cool. That is going to be awesome. I cannot wait.
Feels
to see 20 people riding their mounts across. It's going to be awesome.
It's gonna be cool.
It feels like a whole new mode. It's really good.
That's great. So a while ago, I think it was quite a while ago, we talked about that we were looking at overhauling our combat system. And I think we're pretty much getting pretty close to rolling that out. Dave, do you want to share some deets?
Yeah, so basically we're redoing the sort of core scripting system which drives all the animation and combat logic in our game. This is a huge initiative, obviously. You know, it's all combat, all navigation, and it's all being redone in this new system. The new system, there's actually going to be a blog by Kevin, who's the architect who did all this, that sort of dives deep into how it works, because I don't understand it all. But the key thing to understand is that it is now going to be basically natively compiled C++ code. So that makes it way, way faster, which is going to be great, especially in sort of like very complex scenes like in war or in chess runs, wherever there's a lot of density, this will really help out. But yeah, it is a major overhaul. All of our actions, all of our abilities, everything has changed. So, you know, there is a chance that some things may be slightly different, hopefully for the better. But please let us know if you notice anything playing that you think is less good than it was previously, let us know. But yeah, the goals here are, one, really help improvement in performance. And second, this is actually a much more debuggable system because it's natively compiled. We can set in breakpoints, we can check variables, all sorts of things, and it makes it easy.
Speaking as a developer myself, being able to set breakpoints and figure out what the hell's going on, that is a huge win. And that also will help them find and adjust issues, you know, so much better. To kind of add, we've seen them make some mistakes in the last like 3 or 4 months where things are kind of getting checked in beforehand, and that is a process, that is a pain point when it comes to your source code and managing it. But like what they're talking about here kind of makes what happened way more, it makes it way more understandable for me as a developer. But then also, yes, natively compiled code in this case is going to be, I think, a real big win, and that's going to affect so many things going forward. If we think about the Lord of the Rings MMO guys, like there are so many things to just do, it's going to benefit.
Easier to debug. So this, the engineers in the group are happy.
Yeah, we are.
But what that means for you all, the players, is that it will be easier to fix bugs, and especially the desyncs, which were really hard to fix on our old system, will be much easier to fix. So look forward to improved performance and then improved stability and bug fixing in the future. But there might be a little hump as we first introduce this in season 5, where we're sort of ironing out all the kinks.
And let me just manage expectations. Like, we got the base system in, so your performance may not have a drastic improvement immediately.
Yes.
It's going to enable us to understand and improve it over time in a much more dramatic way. So day one, you may not get a huge performance gain, but it's going to give us data and the ability to go back and make performance better. And by the way, it will get better, but there's going to be more leaps coming because of this framework.
And there should be a noticeable decrease in like the memory footprint.
Yeah, especially on the server, right?
Server and client.
Yeah. So it's a big deal. And you know, we like Dave said, this would be a great one to give us feedback on. As you know, remember, different doesn't mean bad, but figure out, like, help us understand what's bad, not just different. All right, well, we're going to go back to Tony, who's going to tell us about some of the upcoming events in Season 5.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of your old favorites returning. We're going to have Rabbit's Revenge coming back, where you'll be able to go ahead and kill your furry friends in order to get that coveted chest that everybody always goes after. And then we also have Springtide Bloom coming around again with some revamped rewards. So we're excited to see players dive into those and earn some cool stuff.
All right, we're going to finish on a positive, hopefully. Dave V has a surprise to share about a new quality of life feature that he's really built up, so I hope it lives up to it.
I think it will, beyond just the artifact change, which you mentioned earlier, which is great QL. Another piece of feedback we've gotten a lot is Magnify. Hey, this thing can be hard to manage in all my builds. I wish I had a little more control. And you know, we've gotten lots of different suggestions how to do it. In Season 5, we're going to be introducing a new QL change where you can choose the attribute that all your Magnify applies to.
Oh,
that could be better than that.
So we like this approach. You can't like individually apply them all, which some people had suggested. We thought that was a little bit too strong, but here you can choose one attribute for all your Magnify points, and it should give you a little more flexibility in terms of builds, especially if you use Magnify across multiple builds.
Awesome. All right, well, that's all we have today. Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw and you want us to keep doing these, like us, follow us, subscribe, and all of that. Otherwise, thank you so much, and we will see you in Eternum.
Yeah.
Hey, I thought the big surprise was going to be that we're lowering the cost of Respec. What happened?
One more QOL update that's super important. We've got lots of feedback on respecing, especially in our classless system. Hey, it costs too much. Well, guess what? The cost is being shattered. We got a huge sale in Season 5. Respec is now 50 coin.
Okay.
50 coin. Woohoo! It's like a pack of gum. Come on.
There we go.
All right. Anyway, thanks. See ya. Bye-bye.
Music and sound in this game is just incredible. I guess that was sometimes they tease stuff at the end of that stuff. Excellent video, excellent news update. Season 5 hitting in March, gonna be epic. We're gonna go hands-on with it here in just a few days. Gonna be epic. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you liked how I did the format this a little bit this time around. And usually I don't generally show my face too much on the breakout channels, but honestly, I had a lot of fun, and I hope you guys enjoyed my excitement and my reaction. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts. If you want to get involved in the community, hit the top link in the description. That will get you into the Discord, the podcast, so much more. Second link in the description will actually take you over to Ginger Prime. As a part of a member, I have lots of exclusive member-only content over there, and that's generally where the main streaming happens, where I stream New World, etc. I've done a couple of tests where I toss it up over here on this channel, but I can't see the chat when I do that, and I don't think that overall, like I even put a pinned comment and I was like, hey, I can't read chat here, and I saw people chatting and then confused that I wasn't, or felt like ignored, and so I was like, all right, that just tells me that's where, if you guys like live streams, want to come hang out, play games, that's where you want to be. The second link will get you there. You don't actually have to become a member, but I am doing a thing this year where every 25 members, I gift out 5 to the community. And things have been going a lot of fun. We've been doing a lot of really cool stuff. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for your support. Thanks for just being here. Lurk, support is support. Be sure to hit that like button or double tap that dislike button as a great way of helping these videos do whatever they need to do in the algorithm. But outside of that, guys, I wish you all the very best. Hopefully I'll see you next time. And until then, take care.